Hello, dwellers of the internet, welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about Pirates of the Caribbean. And I don't want to talk about the films. What I want to talk about is the soundtracks to the films and how big of a part they play in my enjoyment of the films. You see, recently I came upon the Blu-ray copies of the DVDs for every single Pirates of the Caribbean movie. 1 through 4. Not only that, but the fifth one, which just came out, or, semi-recently came out, depending on when you're watching this, and depending on the date that this is uploaded. It is, recent enough to be the most recent Pirates of the Caribbean movie. So that had found its way onto Netflix, and so I had seen that, and this happened to coincide with me acquiring these Blu-ray DVDs because my little brother wanted to borrow the 1 through 4 set that had been collected by my grandparents, my stepdad's parents, whom we visit and go to Christmas gatherings and holiday activities. I was gonna say holiday specials, as if it was me going to events with them was a TV show. No. They have events and, holiday gatherings and whatnot, and that's usually where we spend our time, is with them, so we can gather with the rest of the family and have a big ol', spectacular holiday fun fair celebration kind of thing. And these people, for some reason, not only love Johnny Depp, but they love the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise hysterically for some reason. Like, out of any other movie that they've ever mentioned, this series has been near and dear to their hearts. So they have bought every single film up until this most recent one, which I'm sure they'll get eventually. They have bought it when it had become available on DVD in its Blu-ray form, so that they can enjoy it in its highest of quality, which is great. I enjoy the films a whole hell of a lot. I think they're pretty great. I enjoy the story. There's far worse franchises they could have picked to be their favorite that I would have had disagreements with, but Pirates of the Caribbean is not one of them. I enjoy all of those films. So I took it upon myself to rewatch every single one of them. Not in order, mind you, because I am a chaotic individual, obviously. I watched the fifth one on Netflix, and then I went back and I watched the third one, and then I went forward a little bit and I watched the fourth one, and I'm probably going to go back and watch the second one again, and I'm probably not going to watch the first one. This is not out of a distaste for the first one. It's actually quite the opposite. It's because the first movie is my favorite of the Pirates franchise, and will probably never be surpassed. Even more so, that opinion is reassured because if you take into consideration the fact that I watched every single one recently, except for the first one, then you would know that the only reason why I skipped out on this first one is because I have watched it countless times within the last few years and ongoing years, as far back as you want to go. I have not gone a year without watching the first Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, because it is even outside of the Pirates franchise, it's probably one of my favorite movies ever created. Like, if I had a top 10 movie list, I haven't put real effort into creating this list, but that movie would probably make it. So I don't need any kind of refresher on the detail or the stages of the plot or the costume design or the pacing or anything like that. I don't need any kind of reassurance or reaffiliation with this film that I don't already have from watching it countless times. I just want to be associated enough with the Pirates franchise so that I could understand the whole scope of the story which is why I decided to go on this venture in the first place and watch every single one. Not only was every single one readily available to me, because of the fifth one being on Netflix and 1 through 4 having been borrowed by my little brother because he wanted to refresh himself on the Pirates franchise. He hadn't seen, I think he had only seen the first one and a section of the second one or something like that, and maybe like a section of the fourth, I don't know. But either way, his affiliation with Pirates was loose at best, and he wanted to connect with it and watch it completely and see whether or not it was, a franchise worth your time, and see if it was entertaining or not. The same reason why I watch stuff and why I, invest myself in media and whatnot is because we like that kind of shit. We want to watch movies and we want to know whether or not the movies hold up after having not seen them for years in our childhood, or since childhood, I should say, and seeing whether or not these films are actually good according to our perspectives now, kind of thing. He's a little bit younger. I'm a little bit older. I'm not trying to discredit anything there, but I am proud of him for taking or having an interest in film and in media in general, because it's a huge and significant part of art, and I'm glad that out of many people in my family, he is one who has perhaps taken after me in that respect as far as the appreciation of art goes. I think it's because of me that he has this interest and that he analyzes in the way that he does. He probably would have been analytical himself without me, but I think I've done a lot to encourage that aspect of his behavior towards media and film and whatnot, and it's great. I didn't plan on watching the entire Pirates franchise over again, but because of his interest in it, and showing enough motivation to ask to borrow these films from our grandparents, even though they treasure them like crazy. Not to say that they were like restrictive about it or anything, that they weren't like withholding it, like, oh, of course you can't do this, of course you can't take our Pirates movies, we love those, they're our favorites. They were quite kind about it, but what I'm saying is that he took the initiative to ask them in the first place, hey, can I borrow that whole series that you guys love so much, which is kind of outlandish when you think about it. I probably wouldn't have done it, but they say yes, and that brightens his day and brightens mine in the far-flung future, which is now for me, now that I have actually taken the time to watch these Blu-rays and go through them all as films. And what I wanted to talk about specifically for now, I might touch on other subjects when it comes to them later, just because they are so fresh in my mind, and I want to talk about, different subjects concerning them and different aspects of the film. I want to talk about the music, and the music itself is so great at luring you into the investment of the plot. It gets you into the characters, and it gets you into the characters' struggles with one another. If I had to get into specifics, in the first Pirates of the Caribbean film, you have Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbossa, and there's this iconic scene where Jack Sparrow is explaining to Barbossa how he says, "Me, I'm dishonest, and you can always trust a dishonest man to be dishonest honestly." And it's this whole big convoluted contradiction that he goes through, in which he's trying to explain that because he's dishonest, and that he's honest about his dishonesty, he is a trustworthy individual. But in that very statement, he contradicts himself, because he shows to Barbossa that he is dishonest, which isn't really a contradiction. It's just him fulfilling the fact that he is dishonest, even though he is dishonest, or even though he is honest about his dishonesty, which is fucking cool. So he tells him, it's the honest ones you want to watch out for, because you never know when they're gonna do something completely stupid. And to reflect this statement, he engages in an action which can be perceived as completely stupid, which is him betraying Barbossa and going after a sword and trying to battle him, and he engages him in combat, and it's fucking great. It's this whole big scene, which, I mean, I guess that it is a contradiction, but it isn't, but it still is, because he mentions honest people, and even though he says he's dishonest, he does the thing that he says only honest people will do, that you have to watch out for. So I guess it is a contradiction, and that's the point of it, is that he makes this claim and fulfills both sides of it simultaneously, kind of thing, which is, you know, he creates a convoluted statement and a convoluted claim that is based on contradiction that he manages to skate around just to fulfill his own ends. And it's fucking great. That's what's great about the character Jack Sparrow. But this scene would be incomplete if it weren't for the main pirate's theme, whatever that theme is called, playing at this moment when he betrays Barbossa. He picks up the sword, he frees Will, he cuts his binds, the ropes, or whatever was tied around his hands, so that he can have the advantage, and so that he can have a fighting chance. And he not only proves himself to be the hero, but he contradicts himself in such a righteous way, which is appealing to the audience, appealing to me anyway. And this scene would be incomplete if it wasn't for the music. The main pirate theme plays, and as soon as he pulls out the sword and frees Will from his binds, it goes like, you know, that main pirate's theme, and it's got such an adventurous feel to it. I should have looked up the composer, because it's fucking amazing. It exemplifies the feeling of adventure, the feeling of unpredictability that is the character of Jack Sparrow. It throws you into this world that is consumed by these philosophies and these ways of beings that have been perpetuated by the pirates, and it's just so fucking awesome. And not only that, but when he gets into the thick of the fight, beyond the start of it, which is the initial hype up, it gets into the deeper part of the theme that it delves into, which could be a different song in the composition altogether, but I think it's part of the same score. I could be wrong, I gotta look this up, like I said. But it goes into a deeper tone, and it's like, da 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 da. How the fuck does it go? It's like, da 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 da. Dun, 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 dun. And this not only provides a juxtapositional tone to what was heard earlier, but it reflects on it so well and so meticulously that you can now go from a rising action in the plot of a film, of a battle starting, to people being fatigued and deeply invested in this battle, which not only gives it the sense of progression and the feeling that time has passed in this battle and that effort has been put into it, but it also gives you the sense of fatigue of the people who are battling. You know, it doesn't even have to be people. Whether it's a single battle that it's used for, like Jack versus Barbossa, or an entire fleet of pirates versus the British militia, the British fleet. It can be applied to, you know, armies and armadas of people and ships, and it still gives off that sense of fatigue of battle, of time having passed during these battles, and it's just fantastic. Those two songs I wanted to talk about in particular because the fucking that is fucking great for a startup, and it's complemented so fucking well by the other song that plays alongside it oftentimes in the films, which goes and it's fantastic. It has progression, it has time passage, it has it creates a story, is what I'm trying to say, just through the music. They don't even need what's happening on screen to be present to tell the story through the music. You could be listening to it like you would listen to Mozart or another composition by another artist that was only meant to be heard audibly, and you will get it. But because of the fact that it's paired alongside these visuals and the story being told, you completely understand the context of what is happening right before your very eyes. And the music is not to be underestimated in the Pirates franchise. It's something that plays an integral role in producing the quality that that is interpreted and received by the fans. I fucking love it. I have gone back and watched the Pirates franchise again, and I gotta say, it holds up compared to childhood viewings pretty fucking well. And the music is a huge part of that, and Pirates of the Caribbean wouldn't be what it is without the score, and it's fantastic. Anyways, that's all I gotta say about that. Go watch Pirates of the Caribbean, any one of them. They're all pretty damn good. Even the fifth one, that one's run into some criticism, but I think it's all right. It's not bad. It's good. There's other ones are better, but it's legitimately a part of the franchise. You'll probably like it. Check them out. Peace, guys.